Now to a story generations in the making.
It began during World War II when a Japanese diplomat risked everything to save the lives of thousands of Jews. Fast forward to 2024 when here in Chicago, his relatives met people who are alive today thanks to his courage.
You see compassion and helping someone.
But for him, we wouldn't be here.
Oriha Sugihara and Richard Solomon live a world apart, but their histories will forever bind them together. Oriha's great-grandfather was Chiune Sugihara, a Japanese diplomat stationed in Lithuania with his family as World War II was exploding. He saved the lives of more than 2,100 Jews by issuing transit visas that allowed them to leave Eastern Europe to safety. Rick's father and uncle were two of the lucky ones who got those documents.
We were blessed, and he dared to do what was right.
It was a decision that cost Chiune and his family dearly, then and years later. But his granddaughter, Madoka Sugihara, told us through a translator,
for him to help other people and to be of service to others was the most utmost importance.
The story goes back to Kaunas, Lithuania, 1940.
My grandfather used to love to play the piano, and he loved to play, especially he loved to play Beethoven, so he would play late into the evening.
But early one July morning, something happened that would change the Sugihara's lives forever. Chiune's wife, Yukiko, wrote about it all in this book. We asked Oriha to read some passages.
I could not comprehend the sight before me, a crowd of people in front of our house. I will always remember their faces and expressions. These people were terrified.
They were Jews facing certain death at the hands of the Nazis. They pleaded with Chiune to give them transit visas to leave Lithuania. They needed to head east through Soviet territory and Japan, where the visas could be extended while they searched for countries that would take them in. Many hoped to get to the Dutch-controlled island of Curacao, where no entry visas were required. Chiune cabled Japanese officials for permission, writing these words.
As a fellow human being, I cannot refuse their requests. Please permit me to issue visas to them.
3 times he was told absolutely not. He did it anyway.
He felt he had no choice to do it because he said he had to account to a higher authority, his own God.
For more than a month, Chiune, with the help of his family, worked tirelessly, day and night, signing and stamping visas. They were not legal, but amazingly, no one caught on. But what he did in the end cost him his job and his life as a diplomat.
He had already made peace with himself that this was not going to be the greatest thing for his career.
At one point, he was penniless on the streets of Tokyo.
There was no doubt the decision he had made was worth any hardship he endured.
Only late in his life did Chiune learn how many people he had saved.
I have a daughter. She's 1 year old, and she will live a full life, God willing, and she'll have her own family, and that's all because of Mr. Sugihara.
Rick's son, Mark Solomon, belongs to yet another generation of Sugihara survivors. They've made it their mission to keep the story alive. And that's why these documents, visas, records, photos, and more are part of a permanent Sugihara exhibit at the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center in Skokie.
Sugihara's story is one that really demonstrates the diversity of people who took a stand, who were what we call upstanders, as opposed to bystanders who really made the choice to do nothing.
Rick, a museum co-founder, sees his own story on this wall. His father was issued visa number 299, his uncle, number 27.
The Talmud teaches to save one life is to save humanity. He directly saved, it said, about 6,000 individuals. He signed some 2,138 visas, but many were entire families. And with later generations, we're talking in the hundreds of thousands of people. If it were not for the righteous acts of your grandfather and your great-grandfather, I would not be on this stage.
Which brings us to a night in late February at the Holocaust Museum's Humanitarian Awards Dinner.
Consul General Sugihara dared to do what was right.
Madoka and Oriha received an award honoring Chiuni. Joining them on stage, descendants of just some of the people Chiuni saved. Scores of people who never would have been born had it not been for him.
With me this evening are 4 generations of Sugihara visa recipients from age 92 years to 12 weeks old.
To hear these stories and all that he did, is there one part of it that makes you the most proud?
多くのユダヤ人を助けたことで
That I'm still able to become friends with the people and the descendants of the people that he saved.
And Mr. Sugihara's gift will continue to grow. It's like planting a single tree and then getting an entire forest. He was the person who looked around him and said, no one else is going to do anything, so I will. I think that is the most beautiful thing, and he has gifted countless people with life.
Chiuni Sugihara died in 1986. 2 years before his death, he was honored as one of the righteous among the nations by Yad Vashem, which is the World Holocaust Remembrance Center in Israel. We are deeply grateful to translator Chelin Gluck and to Christina Cooper and Victor Stanislavski for their beautiful music as well. To learn more about the story and the Illinois Holocaust Museum and Education Center, log on to our website, cbschicago.com.
I'm so struck by his selflessness, and to see these generations coming together now.
It really was a beautiful night.
It had to be.
And a celebration. And the story in the book goes that Chiuni was throwing these visas out the window of the train as they were forced to leave Lithuania.
Wow.
He didn't know what had happened
Sure.
to the people who had gotten these visas until much, much, much later in life. And he certainly didn't understand the magnitude of how many people he had saved.
I was glad to hear that he did have that moment where he at least understood some of it. But right, seeing those many generations,
Yeah.
what a legacy.